Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Just wanted to jump on here real quick. I'm not sure how long this one will be, but back in March, I did post on here that there's going to be a Fukuoka store opening here in, not here in Fukuoka City. I'm not in Fukuoka City right now, but there is going to be a Nintendo Fukuoka store opening up, and it actually just opened up. It opened up last week. It opened up on Friday, the 15th, 14th, I don't know. But I was working. So the next day off I had was on a Sunday, Monday. So I waited until then because I figured that Friday, Saturday, Sunday would be crazy. So on Monday, since I had the day off, went up there super early in the morning. I got there probably about 10:15. And they had a really interesting system there. I don't know if the other stores do this as well, but this one did. Hopefully this is just going to be a short-term thing. I'll let you know what they did here. So first of all, it's on the 8th floor of the Hakata Station. And it's funny, on the 8th floor, on one whole side, there's just nothing but like a giant bookstore. And if you're ever in Hakata Station on the 8th floor, they have a really good English book section there. They've expanded since I've been living out here. When I first got here, it was a couple of bookshelves, but now it's like a whole nice big section. Honestly, it's the best bookstore section for English books that I've ever seen in all of Kyushu. So, good spot to hit up if you're ever at Hakata Station and you've got some time to kill. But on the 8th floor, across the way, there were some other smaller shops. There was like a yoga studio or like a workout area. There were some like model train stores, and then at the far end there was the Pokemon Center. And the Pokemon Center was tiny. It was not very good. Luckily, they've shut that down. It's completely gone. And it's actually been moved into a new building that is now out front, and I believe that's on the 2nd floor, so it's a lot easier to get into from the outside. However, I was disappointed to hear that is where they put the Nintendo store. And so I was like, oh no, it's gonna be small. What is this gonna look like? And when I got up there, to my surprise, on the 8th floor, half of the floor is the bookstore and the other half is the Nintendo store. It literally, they bought out all of those other properties, demolished it all, and now it's nothing but a really long Nintendo store. And it's pretty impressive. When I first saw it, I was like, oh, wow. Okay, so this is actually very big. But I got up there, and there was no line to get in. And I was like, okay, I'll just walk right in. But then I noticed there was about 8 guys all standing around out front. And they were, like, pointing in the direction of, like, towards the other end. And they had, like, a little photo area where you can get your photo next to the sign and next to, like, some Mario blocks and some other stuff like that. And near that far end, there was a lady there that was handing out time tickets. So you'd walk up to her, she'd give you a time ticket, and on your ticket was like a fast pass for those of you that have ever been to Disney. And it gives you a time frame of when you can come back as to when they will let you in the store. I was there at like 10:20. I looked at my timetable, and it was 12:40 to 1:10. Was the time that I had to come back by. After 1:10, you can't use that anymore. Like, you've missed your window to go shopping. So I was like, wow, I've got basically, like 2.5 hours. So I was like, what am I going to do for 2.5 hours? Because I was kind of hoping I could just go shopping and then, come back super quick. But I went ahead and I walked around the bookstore, looked at the books. There's nothing really there. And then I went down to the Starbucks and I just sat at the little booth. I got a coffee. I charged my phone. I just kind of hung out, watched some videos and stuff like that, and just kind of relaxed. I also looked at the bus schedule because I took the bus to Hakata Station. And I was like, when can I get back? So I was trying to figure all that out. I was like, well, if I shop for this long, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, got it all figured out. And then finally, it was 12:40. Went back. And they were very strict. They were very strict. They actually hand out those tickets in 10-minute increments. So I got up there at about 12:20 thinking, well, if there's nobody in line, maybe they'll just call us early. No, they call you on the dot. So at 12:30, they called the 12:30 people. I stood around for another 10 minutes, and they were kind of like looking at me like, you can't stand around here and wait. You've got to like actually like walk away. And so at 12:40, they said, okay, the 12:40 people, showed them my ticket, got into line, and there was probably about like 30, 40 of us for that 10-minute time slot. We all got in a little roped off area. They got us all lined up. They kind of said, hey, this is what we're doing today. If you want this, you go over here. If you want that, you go over there. Mainly because there was a massive line for the gachapon. So I guess Nintendo has these exclusive, or Nintendo stores have these exclusive like prize, well, they call them out here, they're called gachapon. So you put the coin in, you crank the thing, and then a toy comes out the bottom, right? Nintendo has a bunch of exclusive ones with like controllers and different things like that, and those are super popular. There was a huge long line for that, and I was like, I don't care about that. I can do that anytime. I just want to shop around and see what's going on here. They also had like a special thing where if you showed them your Nintendo membership, like My Nintendo ID, you can generate a QR code and they'll actually give you like some free stickers, which was cool. I got a really cool Breath of the Wild sticker. I got a really cool like Mario Christmas sticker, and then I got some other character sticker. I don't remember what the third one was, but I thought that was kind of cool. They're just handing out a bunch of free stickers. But overall, this was my very first time in a Nintendo store in Japan, and it was very, very good. I had been to the Nintendo store in New York twice, and that's pretty good. That's not bad. But the biggest difference between the stores in America versus the stores in Japan is that I'm assuming the merchandise is very, very different. In the store in New York, it's mostly like t-shirts and hats and just kind of the normal stuff that we as Americans are kind of used to buying, right? You know, things like kind of like that. Here in Japan, a lot of stuff is more based around like practical use items, like things that you wouldn't think people would actually want, like a lot of stationery. Like there's so many different like little erasers that you can like buy, or like pencils or pens, or like notebooks, tons of notebooks, like man. Also like laundry stuff for your laundry or like for your kitchen. Like for instance, I got 2 laundry bags. So like not laundry bags. So I guess I have to explain it. It's like when you have like delicates that you need to put into the washing machine, you put it in like a zipper pouch so that they don't get like, I know women use them a lot for like bras and things like that, so they don't get all tangled up. Well, they had small and medium sizes in like 4 different styles. One style was like a blooper. So they had like a small and a big blooper, which is the squid from Mario. Then they had like a giant one that was like a Cheep Cheep, which is the giant fish from Mario. And then they had like 2 Animal Crossing ones as well. And I just was like, wow, like everything in the Japan stores are like things that you'll use. It's not just crap that's going to sit on a desk and do nothing. Like I didn't see like any like figures. Like, I mean, obviously they had Amiibo and things like that there. But Amiibo technically have a function. You can technically use those in games. But there were no like figurines that just sat on a desk and didn't do anything. Like everything sort of was a purpose. Like even something like a keychain. I mean, you put your keys on that. That has a purpose. You know, it was very interesting to see what the Japanese market would value in Nintendo merchandise versus an American. Because when I went there, I just bought a couple t-shirts and like looked around at the stuff, and I was like, this is kind of cool, and that was about it. But I was more attracted to the stuff that was for sale in the Fukuoka store. But anyway, when you walk into the first place, to the right is, I think, going to be, obviously it hasn't been there long enough to be able to tell, but the right-hand side when you first walk in is like a small little nook area, which is where the gachapon machines are, as well as they had a massive My Mario section. My Mario, for those of you that don't know, is a huge thing they're pushing out here right now in Japan. It's coming to America in 2026, but it's a massive toy line and merchandise line directly aimed towards babies, which is interesting. I actually bought the book for my daughter, which is really, really cute. It's like a little pop-up book that has Mario in it, and he's doing a bunch of little funny things. But they've got this whole younger kids line of stuff. And I'll come back to the small kids thing here in just a second. But I believe that whole area is going to be like the seasonal section where they have whatever the hot new thing is. That's going to always change out. Like, I don't think that's just going to be the My Mario preschooler section, but that is the biggest line that like just came out. So that was what they were showcasing when you first walked in. To your left, on the back wall, there was a bunch of Splatoon and Mario and Zelda stuff, which was the primary stuff that they were pushing. And then beyond that was the stationery. And then after that was really the meat of the Animal Crossing section, which mostly was kitchen stuff. So like you could buy like Animal Crossing, like hot plates and like cutting boards. Like there was a whole like minimalist Animal Crossing line of nothing but stuff you'd put in your kitchen. Like they had things to like put your sugar in, and like I said, everything just was like a function. It was like real stuff, and it was like really well made. Really surprising, very interesting. And then one of the more interesting things too that's definitely different for Japan is when you're all the way at the end, when you're in like the little zigzag line waiting to actually check out, that is where they have all of the omiyagi, which the omiyagi is the like the candies and treats and snacks and stuff that you buy for coworkers when you've gone on vacation. So when you come back, you give them a little something for thanking them for helping cover your job while you were gone, which is a very exclusively Japanese thing. Because in America, we're just like, I'm getting out of here, to hell with all of you. That's kind of the more of the attitude. But in Japan, it's much more like, oh, I need to buy this for my coworkers. I need to get this to share in the break room. I need to get this for my best friend at work. I need to get this for my boss. Like, there's much more of that kind of mentality when you come back to work. So seeing all of the omiyagi was really cool because they had they had stuff for everything. They had like Mario and Zelda and what was it? God, what was the other one? They had Pikmin, but I'm trying to remember what the other major one was because there wasn't a Mario Kart one. Yeah, Mario, Zelda, Animal Crossing, Pikmin, and Splatoon. That's what it was. It was Splatoon. It was just kind of weird because it was like all black, so it's kind of bizarre. But just a big box full of candies and snacks and things like that. Something you could just rip the top off of, put it in the break room, and say, thank you, everybody, for letting me go on vacation. Because in Japan, vacation is not a human right. It's if they let you, or if they're not going to make you feel guilty for going. That seems to be the vibe out here. They're much more team-based than we are in the States. Overall, really a great experience. I'm glad that I got a chance to go. I was there like the opening week of it. It looks like it's going to be super popular. They were really advertising it like crazy throughout Hakata Station. They had all of the elevators were like completely covered in like Mario and Zelda and Link, and they had posters on every single floor. Because I took the elevators in Hakata Station are crazy. Never take an elevator. It's wild. So I just took the escalator all the way up. And every single floor I was on, it was like 2 more floors until the Nintendo store. And I'm just like, oh man, they are hitting us hard with this. Like they want everyone going to this thing. This is the 4th store, right? The 4th store in Japan or the 3rd store in Japan? Yes, it's the 4th store. First one was Tokyo, second was Osaka, third was Kyoto, and now finally we've got Fukuoka City. If I were to guess, and I think I may have said this back in March, but I'm going to guess that the next store in Japan is going to probably be Sapporo, which is going to be all the way up in Hokkaido, so that way they've kind of got, from end to end, they've got Nintendo pretty much covered. It's either going to be Sapporo or they're going to go the opposite way, and it's going to be Okinawa, because Okinawa is a huge tourist destination, so I'm guessing it's going to be either one of those, probably Okinawa, because there's a lot more people that'll go there, especially from other countries. And that seems to be who they're really targeting with these Nintendo stores. That's why they're always like in a station or nearby a central location so that foreigners like be like, oh, we got to stop by the Nintendo store. And then they can kind of get you while you're waiting for your train or something like that. Overall, really great spot. I loved it. Don't love the location. I wish it was on like just the ground floor of a building. Because, yeah, getting up that 8th floor, getting up there and getting out of there quickly is like impossible. Like you're always it's gonna take you 5 to 10 minutes to get up there and then 5 to 10 minutes to get down, whether you're waiting for an elevator or you're taking the escalator, because it's just wild. I don't know. I'm glad the Pokemon Center has moved. I've seen some photos of that. That looks really nice. It looks like we finally have a proper mascot out there now. I don't know who it is because I haven't been there yet. But the photos that I've seen that have been updated on the Google reviews, it looks a lot better, which is great. I just wish that they would have just put the Nintendo store there instead of the Pokemon Center, because I'm going to want to go to the Nintendo store way more than the Pokemon Center. Yeah, like I said, it's absolutely great. It was a fantastic time. Got my picture taken out front of it, but there's a nice lady that's there, so if you want to get your photo taken, you just hand her your phone. She takes some photos for you. Overall, really great time. Merchandise was really good. I didn't go too crazy, because I had to save some money because I'm going home for Christmas this year. But yeah, I will definitely be back, and I can't wait to see like where they're going to open up next. Speaking of next, I just saw online actually that they are doing a pop-up store in Seoul, which is interesting. So it looks like they might be trying to break into the Korean market a little bit. I would not be surprised if they opened up a store out there, because it seems like what they're doing is they'll put a pop-up store there for a little while, see how it does, and if it does good, about 2 years later, maybe 3 years later, they'll open up a store. As far as my predictions for stores in America, I'm just going to go ahead and call this now. You probably don't care. You probably turned this off by now, but I'm curious about it. I don't know why they picked San Francisco as the second store. Probably because Nintendo... I've kind of noticed that the Japanese market and a lot of the Japanese kind of marketing style is just look at what's most popular or what is the most expensive, and that's like what the coolest is. That seems to kind of be the way that they think. And so I think that they looked on paper and they were like, well, right now the most expensive city is San Francisco, so you just put one there. And in my head, I was like, why would you do San Francisco? Because Seattle is the headquarters for Nintendo of America, and Seattle has a bigger gaming market than San Francisco does. Like, gaming is huge in Seattle. Like, if you were to say what is the number one city for gaming in America, I'd probably say Seattle, because you've got Microsoft's headquarters there, Valve is up there, Nintendo's up there. Like, your heaviest hitters, like, are up there. I mean, besides Rockstar in New York City and Bethesda in... Where is Bethesda? Maryland or something? I can't remember where Bethesda is, but I think Bethesda's in Bethesda, right? I don't know, but anyway, most of the gaming companies are in the Pacific Northwest in Seattle. So it's like, why would you not put a Nintendo store there? Like, it's wild to me. So if I were to guess, in America, that's where the next store is going to go. Which, just a fun piece of trivia, technically there's already a Nintendo store in Washington at the headquarters, but it's for employees only. Like, you've got to be an employee to shop there, which is kind of hilarious, because it's like, how much money do you make on that? Like, if you're working for Nintendo every single day, do you really want your house full of Nintendo stuff? I mean, maybe. I probably might. I don't know. It depends on how my boss treated me. Anyway, I had a great time at the Nintendo store at Fukuoka. Like I said, I've been wanting to go for a few years now. I almost thought about flying to Tokyo or Osaka or Kyoto just for like the day to go shopping, just because I've been dying to go. It was worth the wait. I'm glad it's so much closer now. I can go whenever I want. It's not going to be a big deal. I'll definitely be going probably a couple times a year. For anybody that's going to Japan, it's an obvious must-stop place. Though I probably would say if you're going to be stopping through Tokyo, that's probably the better place to go, because they're probably over it by now. I've seen some vlogs of people walking around the Tokyo store, and it's like pretty manageable. There's not people everywhere. This Hakata station looks like probably the worst of all of the locations for just it being crowded, because it's just a naturally crowded area, and it's not... I don't know. It's not a great location. I wish they would have put it on the ground floor someplace so you can get people in and out quicker, because it is a little claustrophobic up there. But anyway, that'll about do it for today. I hope you guys are doing all right out there, and take care of each other out there.